So like you said, it sort of had to be that 600 for you to even have a remote chance for Sheffield. So Sheffield, the wild card, you're waiting, is it going to happen, is it not going to happen? You didn't know if you thought you were going to get it. And then in January this year, finally, you were kind of given that opportunity that you were hoping and praying for, which was the wild card. Talk to us a little bit about how you felt when you first found out.
So I kind of thought if it was going to happen, they would just decide if I did 600, they'll just let me know straight away. But that took them a few weeks to let me know. So I had already decided that I'm probably not going, that's fine. So when I got the email that I had been invited, like me and my partner were driving on the motorway, and I just like lost my shit. And he was like, what's happening? Like, is someone hurt? Because I was just
driving.
I wasn't driving, he was driving. And I like almost threw my phone, and then I was like crying out of nowhere. And all I could say was like, I'm going. He knew straight away what that meant. So like, I think it was just the first time I would have ever felt extremely happy and like validated in my career of powerlifting.
So for those that are watching that might not be familiar with the format, can you explain a little bit about Sheffield in terms of how it's run and how it differs from something like a World Champs?
Yeah, so Sheffield, it was the first of its kind. This year was the first ever one, ran and held by SBD. It's basically it's World Champs versus World Champs, and there are a few wild card spots for whoever SBD decide has some kind of capability to beat the world record or make a really good head-to-head matchup. So when you go, your goal is to beat the world record of your weight class by the highest percentage. And in that way, everybody's competing against each other. So it's very different in that way, making decisions on what you're lifting and how you're going to go about the game plans is very different. Get a lot of money. So you break world records for like squat, bench, deadlift. Now total, you get 5K for each one of those that you do. Wow. And that's in British pound. So for us, that's 10K. That's massive.
So everyone got some money. You got some money as well?
Yeah.
To help off pay that student loan?
Yeah.
So it was very different for you, I guess, from competitions that you'd done previously. And, there was media days, there's photo shoots, there's videography, all that kind of thing going on. How was the experience at Sheffield?
Yeah, the experience was incredible. You felt like a professional sports person. Everything that you watch in the lead up to different world champs or different world cups, the UFC every weekend, and we watch Embedded. That's what it felt like. You had cameras everywhere and doing interviews and just being taken care of as well. Your flights were paid and people picked you up from the train station. You're all fed, but also you were surrounded by greatness all the time. You're eating breakfast, dinner, lunch with them. So it was really incredible experience.
So talk a little bit more about sort of the ups and downs in your prep going into Sheffield, and maybe a bit of a rundown of the competition day itself. I know you spoke earlier about the strategy and the gameplay that's involved in attempt selection. So how did it go for you? I know there was a highly anticipated under 76 kilo female class. There was 3 of you in it. Any of you could have come out on top on any given day, right? So just give us a rundown of all of that.
Yeah, gosh, it really did feel highly anticipated. It just seemed like the talk of everything was that 3-way battle between us. I really wanted to win. Before, probably around Commonwealth time, I was still feeling really healthy and really strong. And the last few comps, I had kept pushing that total. And so I did feel good. But in the prep of things, I really felt really fatigued. I felt my body kind of trying to give up on me and say, we really need a rest, because I think the 3 competitions before that was constantly breaking unofficial world records, and that's a lot on the body. And I had a few months to do that again, and then also knowing that Worlds was after that, and I would have to do it again soon after. So The prep did not go as I really wanted to, but I was not hinting at that because I was trying to convince myself it wasn't happening. So on the competition day, had another 6 for 9 performance, and that was disappointing. It was hard to be disappointed because it was such an amazing environment. You know, the crowd, it felt like a rock concert, like everybody was treating you like some amazing athlete, and so it was hard to sit in that disappointment. But it was disappointing. And the consolation prize was that I out-totaled Jess and Agatha. And that's a good consolation, but it wasn't what I went there for.